So in this video, I'm going to talk about how do women who have an anxious attachment style feel after a breakup. As you might know, someone who is anxiously attached, they are characterized by their intense emotions, which means that after heartbreak, they experience such intense emotional distress. This could be a mix of emotions like anger, frustration, a feeling of abandonment, of rejection, that brings a lot of sadness and grief. Um, they also tend to have low self-esteem, which makes them feel um, lose their confidence. So they tend to feel afraid of difficult situations or situations that put them in a state of wanting to perform or to improve something, especially if this is something that's related to their professional life, even if they are successful in this area. Feeling low about themselves, having a low self esteem as a result of the breakup, tends to create this continuous roller coaster that repeats itself on a daily basis. And it could get to a place where life becomes so difficult because even the smallest of tasks could feel like so much to do. I remember when I was going through that experience that there were definitely days when I woke up in the morning and I did not want to get out of bed because the pain was so intense and I wanted to just completely forget about the realities that I was living. A breakup also leaves us with a deep sense of loss because we tend to think that we lost the most important and precious thing in our lives, which is the romantic relationship that we had. We think that that was the thing that we placed so much importance on. We associated our self-worth with it. We associated our sense of confidence with it. We thought we associated our It felt like this relationship was the number one thing that we cared about the most in life. So when the relationship comes to an end, we tend to think that we lost almost everything in our lives, even if we have success in other areas of our lives, even if we feel good about ourselves in other areas or around other people, that we have other important avenues in which we express ourselves in our lives. But we tend to intensify that feeling of loss until it becomes the only thing that we see in our lives. So it feels like we lost everything by the end of this relationship. Also, because people who have an anxious attachment style, they tend to fear abandonment and rejection more than anything else. We tend to feel lonely. A breakup triggers feelings of loneliness and betrayal because we think that the end of this relationship means that we lost the attention, the love, the acceptance of the one person that we craved all of these things from the most. We think that if this person is not in our lives, this means that we are going to be lonely and that we are going to spend the rest of our lives alone because we're not going to find someone else who love and accept us for who we are. Also, this could trigger feelings of anger or frustration towards the ex-partner because we feel that he betrayed us when he broke, especially if he was the one who broke up with us. Anxiously attached also tend to overanalyze, overthink every little detail in the relationship. So when the relationship comes to an end, we tend to replay conversations, memories, past experiences, situations that we had with our partner for a number of reasons. One of which that we think that when we do this, we could figure out why the breakup happened, why the relationship came to an end, which means that we have a chance of fixing things and getting back together. We also might do this in an attempt to re-experience the good memories, which could be a distraction from the pain that we are feeling during heartbreak as a result of the breakup. Also, because we tend to associate our self-worth, our self-esteem to our success in this romantic relationship, the absence of it make us question our sense of identity because we think that, well, who am I without this person in my life? Who am I without the success of this relationship that I craved and wanted more than anything else in my life? Our perception becomes so distorted to the degree that we strip away all the other valuable things about ourselves. We tend to break it all down to one thing and one thing only. This person is no longer with me, therefore I am a failure. Therefore, this means that I am not lovable. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of his attention, of his appreciation, of his acceptance. This entire mix of emotions, of intense emotions, leave us with a big sense of void inside ourselves, which makes us tend to seek reconnection because we think that, well, if I can start talking to this person, to my ex partner again, then that means that I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to seek reassurance, I'm going to seek validation, I'm going to try to make things work again, which, if we do this, actually, it could keep us in a cycle of beating ourselves up for the relationship and not allowing ourselves the time, the distance that we need to heal properly, because we keep this person who is no longer in our lives alive, either by memories or by reconnecting back with him in reality. The last thing is that also women who have an anxious attachment style, they, because of the intensity of the emotions that they feel after the breakup, all of these emotions are stored in the body, which means that this means that it is more likely that we experience a lot of physical pain. For me personally, I had so many physical symptoms when I was going through a breakup. I had difficulty sleeping. My appetite got affected so much. There were days in which I could spend the entire day only on one meal. This means that our weight changes, we experience a lot of mood swings. One moment we are frustrated, the other moment we're angry, the next moment we're crying, as well as problems that are related to digestion and stomach, like acid reflux, difficulty digesting food. The last thing that I want to mention right here is that if you are going through a breakup, I want you to know that I give you so much support. I have so much compassion for what you're going through. I know that this pain is real, it is valid, but I also know from personal experience that it's not going to always be the same. This pain is not permanent. It's here just for a little time, but then you're going to heal and you're going to start feeling better about yourself, better in your life. So please know that there is a way out of this pain. That having a breakup does not mean that you're a bad person, does not mean that you are not worthy of love. It only means that this is an experience to learn from. It's part of the so many experiences that we go through as humans. So please be kind to yourself as much as you can, and I'll see you in the next video.